Everybody pause.
Ohio.
Welcome to xYOUTHGROUPx. My name is Ryan. This is Taylor. That's Anthony. And I'm not even going to do a fun, cool intro because this is Dave Elkins, and this episode's going to be off the rails.
Oh,
I already know that.
I love it.
When we had a list of people we wanted on this, we said from the jump the Dave episode will be the most
Absolutely.
fun
Ooh,
episode.
cool.
Absolutely.
I didn't know that.
The
Just-
Dave episode.
Oh, yeah.
The Dave episode.
That's
Because
And
we
partly
love
because,
Dave.
with like with Keach, what?
I said
do.
because we love Dave, and then y'all just
Yeah,
ran right
well, I was
past
gonna
it.
say with like people like Keach and Chad, like the relationship's just me, and they're like meeting these guys for the first time
Yeah.
today.
Oh, true.
But with you,
Yeah, been around you guys a lot.
we're all friends.
Yes, for
Yeah,
a long time.
and I think before we go anywhere,
Cool.
we're gonna have a lot of things to address other than music. So this could be an hour and a half one.
Yeah.
I want to start with the group text.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
I'm at responsibility for this to some degree.
Okay,
There's beef.
there's beef,
I have no hard feelings at all, because at the end of the day,
right?
you know, there's no way Dave wasn't getting 137 messages for his
the four
one
of us
response.
were in
I
a
felt
group
bad.
text.
I told you guys. I said I'm gonna put this one on silent.
You did say
Yeah.
that.
I did.
You
I was
say that.
very
Yeah.
honest. I said, I can't keep up with you guys. You're on another level.
Yeah.
What it is I was recruited to join DraftKings. I started.
Yes.
So that Ryan
I
could
started
get a sign
sports
up
betting,
on
right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
right around the NBA Finals
Last
year.
year, me, you, and Zach were. What restaurant was that in Hendersonville? Sam's? No.
Jonathan's?
No, was it Sam's place?
I think it was John. Oh, it was Sam's.
Yeah,
It was
yeah, yeah.
Sam's. It was Sam's.
And
I've
we
been
were
there in a
there
hot minute.
betting. And the worst thing that ever happened was Zach won.
Right.
And he was like, "This is the best thing."
Yeah.
that's ever happened."
he thought he'd win every
And it
every
was
bet
like
for the rest of his
Luka
life.
first three.
He got
And
lucky.
he hit it, and he
Yeah.
was like, "I'm him."
Yeah.
Like, this is, yeah. Drinks were coming, hair was up. He was ready to go.
Just
The
ready.
depression was down the road at that point. That night he was just all smiles.
That
Oh,
was
yeah.
a great day.
So Dave
But
didn't leave the chat.
No, I didn't.
suggested maybe
You
we
guys
should
removed me
move
from it.
We didn't remove you. It's still
did it?
active.
It's
You
active.
It is.
texting it right now to pull it back to the top?
Well, I don't have my phone on me, but we can do that later. I'm the guy who
number
joined your
changed.
podcast and didn't bring my phone.
My number changed. It was a different, yeah. All right, yeah.
Well,
anyways.
I mean, with that, just like basically, I was having fun,
yeah.
but you guys are like semi-pro
Okay.
or pro.
I thought you were going to use a D word.
And I started getting like,
Degenerate.
I honestly felt like an amateur. I'd be like, what is the parlay of the, the spread here? And I'm just like, you don't even know what you're saying right now. I'm like, I don't know what I'm saying.
The best thing about Dave is on DraftKings, we also had a group. If you're not a sports bettor, you probably shouldn't start. But there's a group that we also had on there so we could see each
What was
other's
it called?
bets.
Right.
Whitsett Losses Club.
Bingo.
And you could see each other's bets. So, yeah, like Dig doing like 2 or 3 games together. Maybe Taylor doing a pretty decent thing. I may go all out, like have 5 or 6 players getting 20 points. Not Dave. This is not what Dave does. We're in NFL season. Dave is like Tua Tagovailoa is going to throw for 7 touchdowns.
No,
Yeah.
that's not true. That's not true.
It's always
let me
plus
explain
8,000.
it. What I do is I spend $5, and the goal is to make like $30,000. So I'm like,
Okay, that's
Tua
what I
needs
said.
3 touchdowns, and Mahomes needs to rush for 50 yards, and all of a sudden I've made like 12 different bets.
12 legs.
That's
It's
all like
it's a
plus
12 leg.
200. Yeah.
Right. So it's like if I win this whole thing, I could probably sit for
Yeah,
6 months.
what it is we're playing scratch offs, and
Yes.
Dave's playing Powerball.
Yeah.
Like he's
I'm
going
playing Powerball
for it.
That's
every time.
exactly what's happening.
Oh,
So,
my God.
well,
Well, you're saying things like, "Hey, I just made $30." I'm like,
Yeah.
well, I'm trying to make $30,000 today on $5.
He's like, those are rookie numbers, bro.
Dude, and I'm like thrilled over the $30. I'm like, sweet, we're crushing today. And you're like, that shit's amateur.
It never happened. I never won a single bet. Never won one.
Imagine.
You never won one.
Really?
Because I always shot for the moon.
The problem is I even showed him today. There's a dude who did a 2-leg on FanDuel that was Eagles to win the Super Bowl, Cavs to win the NBA Finals. $100 bet. His current cash out, if you don't know what a cash out is, basically they'll offer you money to go ahead and take your bet early because it looks like it's going to hit. His cash out's $3,000, but his payout $22,000.
Oh yeah.
And the Cavs look good.
They look great.
Yeah,
They look
Looks scary.
great.
yeah. All right, we gotta get off this. 'cause
We also have to
will-
remember to check the score
Oh, yeah.
throughout this podcast. That's
What'd
important.
you say?
Lakers. That's a good way to start. Like
Oh,
on
yeah,
this,
yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, I was thinking about that. I even asked, I was like, "Can we watch the game?" But that's
I know,
going to
it's-
be a distraction.
Well, I don't think there's Wi-Fi.
Lakers Timberwolves game 5.
Right.
On
You know
right
what?
now.
Hold on. I'm going to give a score. We're going to come back to this for prediction because I feel
Cool.
like it's close to half.
We're about to place a bet.
1 minute and half. 1 minute till the half.
Okay.
55-47.
Timberwolves.
Timberwolves are up.
Oh.
It's 3-1. It's in LA.
Yep.
Who's winning big?
Oh man, the headlines want the Lakers to win, so I'm going to go for that.
In LA.
In LA.
Timberwolves. They close out the series tonight.
Woo! Woo!
Anthony Edwards is awesome.
Yeah, he's pretty
Yeah,
dang good.
I feel like I have to go Lakers. I don't think they win the series, but I think they win tonight.
Anthony Edwards says before the series starts, he commented on Bronny James' post, say, can't wait to send you and your dad to Cancun.
Did he say
No.
that?
Tonight,
That's so
he
baller.
sends
Oh,
them
wow.
boys to Cancun.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I like
Which
that.
I have a full, like, first round, like, here's the winners. And if they lose, then I'll lose that. But I'm willing to lose that $5 just to watch, which sucks because I want the Mavs to, like, really feel what they did and the dumb trade they made.
Don't even talk about that.
All
I'm a
right,
Mavs fan.
we got it.
Anyway.
We got it. Okay. So, obviously, we've toured together. We've played a bunch of shows together. We've been friends for a good handful of years at this point.
We met at a show that we played together back in like 2022.
Oh, at Motorco.
2021.
2021?
Yeah.
I
2021?
played that show.
Yeah, you did play that show.
Yeah,
Yeah,
did.
you did.
Yeah. You know that?
What? That he
You-
played the show?
yeah.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
How'd you know that?
Because you told me. And it was like,
He didn't watch.
He wasn't there.
We weren't friends at that point. You were in the green room.
no. But I reached out to you ahead of the show to see if we could share some gear.
Yeah.
And
And we
so-
found out we lived 10 minutes apart.
Right.
Yeah.
And so by the time we, like, actually met each other,
Yeah.
I didn't know the inner workings of, because you never play shows.
Yeah, not anymore. That was like the last.
That was it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Last time
Right.
we played.
He's like, I
So-
played with May, I'm done.
Drew wasn't
Yeah.
playing bass at
No,
that time.
That's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
dude.
So
Which
we
is
were all
crazy.
different
That was
versions
Yeah.
of our band, at least like live versus in
Yep.
studio or whatever.
Emma wasn't playing that show.
Nope.
You didn't play that show, right?
Right.
I played that show. Cody was playing Kid, I think.
Cody
Cody
Bischoff
played
played
the
the
Bischoff was
Kid
playing
that
drums.
night.
Yeah.
He
Really?
played that Kid.
Different Cody.
Blake.
Oh, different Cody. I was
Yeah.
about to
He
say.
said,
'cause,
"Really?"
Like, Cody's like not a
Yeah, no.
not a drummer.
No.
Yeah. he
All
is.
right. We're talking about different, are we talking about two Codys right now? I don't know two Codys. Hang out with Whitsett, you get to know two Codys in the same band.
Oh, my gosh.
One of the benefits.
So we've known each other for a long time.
Yeah.
And more so, I would argue, than probably anyone else that we'll have on here, maybe with the exception of Hoops at this point. We've talked about a lot of life together. And we've
Yeah.
been friends, like legit friends, for a good while. To the point where, like, I would consider you like one of my actual Nashville friends versus just
congrats,
like
Dave.
a guy I know in a band. And that day came when Dave's apartment flooded.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know that story, actually.
And we moved a couch on the top of Dave's car.
Yeah. My apartment, I was on the bottom floor and like the pipes were like from the 90s and one of them burst and I woke up at like 3 o'clock in the morning and there was water standing while water was like coming out of every possible place from
Oh,
the ceiling all over. And I had to move out almost immediately. Like within hours,
Yeah.
mold started to grow and just like got worse and worse. And
It was the
God.
next day we were over there.
yeah, I had to get Ellie out, my daughter, and then I had to like move out almost immediately. So yeah, it was just like picking up things, and I moved to another apartment in the same complex. So it was picking up things, putting them on the top of my vehicle, and just like driving slowly
Carefully.
It was fun.
and hoping.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, it worked
God.
out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it worked.
Yeah, and actually, I thought about that. I think on the way here, or just
Okay.
yesterday, I was just like, "Oh yeah, when I moved here, one of the people that like helped me move into this apartment was Ryan."
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Like your friends, I don't like helping anybody move.
Yeah.
So when
I'm
you help a
cashing that
friend,
check
when you help a
soon.
friend move, it's like that's somebody that you
Yeah.
like do care about. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, I would help a lot of people move, but you know how it is. Like it's hard. It's hard to
It's-
like say
yeah.
yes to that.
And plus, it's like it's also hard to ask somebody to move. But
Oh,
you're
it's so hard.
you're in a situation at that point
It's
where you're like,
desperation.
I need someone ASAP.
Oh, yeah.
Dave knows I don't do anything, so he was like, "Come on!" And I was just like, "All right, cool, yeah." So
You hooked it up.
I'm one of those people that this is gonna be terrible to say, but I don't really like helping a lot of people unless you're my friend,
true.
and then I'll do about anything.
So
Yeah.
true.
So, but that was like to me, that was like a moment where I was like, okay, we're friends. We're not just people that are in a band that might see each other every once in a while. So, and things went downhill from there. That's when the group chat started.
Yeah, I've been slowly like stepping back from the friendship for
Yeah.
2 years
Leaving
now.
the group tag.
I
I'm like,
actually
I
haven't.
don't wanna be
This
in
was the
this.
first time I've seen Dave in like 6 months.
That's kind of true, though.
It is
Yeah.
kind of true, but I don't think it's intentional.
No, it just has to do with like the way the years lined up.
You've
for us,
been
probably.
gone. I've been doing a lot of videos. Like we've just had a lot going on, and we've tried to get together, and it just hasn't worked.
Yeah.
Because usually, if I'm on your side of town, I'll text you.
Yeah.
And you're like, "No, I'm nowhere near the studio today. What are you
Yeah.
doing? Why are you asking me this?"
That's always how you ask me too.
Yeah.
You at the studio?
Yeah.
I'm like, no.
When I text you that, I'm 3 minutes away.
I'm like, I know that. You're always just like turning onto Ren Road at that point.
Yeah, I've like come up here to like hang with like these guys, and I'm like, because this is 5 minutes.
Now that I know where this is, yeah, this
it
is
all
very
makes
close.
sense now. Why
Totally.
when I text you, I'm very, very close.
Totally.
Anyways, okay, well, let's talk about May.
Okay.
May, very contrary to
Tomorrow?
It's gonna be May
Are you kidding me?
tomorrow.
Oh my god.
This is
Yeah.
special.
I made that joke 2 years ago,
Yeah.
and I don't regret it. No, yeah. Well, hey, happy it's gonna be May.
Yeah. Tomorrow's May 1st.
We'll leave it at
Congrats.
that. That's fine. We don't have to burn them. Yeah, we don't have to do it. Anyways, with May, unlike like Keach we just talked to, Keach comes into 2 bands. We just talked to Stephen Keach. I don't know the order of this, but Keach comes into 2 bands. May is your baby.
Yeah.
From the jump, it's you.
Yeah.
When you started May, you were how old?
I was 19
Mm.
when May started. Yeah. In fact, I was in a band in high school, and one of the songs from that band, May, like the guys asked to re-record it for Destination Beautiful. The song's called Skyline Drive, and so
I
one
didn't know that.
yeah, one of the songs from the May album was actually a song I wrote when I was like 17 or 18. So,
Yeah.
but May started for me like full on when I was 19, and our album came out when I was 20.
Jeez.
Nice.
I have a hard time like thinking because there's so many things I know and stories just because we've talked about so much over
Sure.
the years that but anyways so you come into Tooth and Nail, come in with Chad.
Mm.
Arguably at this time,
Yeah.
this is where the conversation is going to start getting interesting here.
Okay.
Arguably at this time, May is a Christian band.
Okay, well, let me take a step back. So we almost signed with Fueled by Ramen,
Oh, okay.
and our first manager was the manager for Jimmy Eat World when Clarity came out.
Okay.
And
One of your favorite records.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And his partner, not his wife, but his partner, she managed Madonna. So we were like, this is the dream because like they have this reach because they have Madonna on their roster. And then Jimmy Eat World's like at the time probably my favorite band. And so we're about to sign with Fueled by Ramen, and then our manager says, hey, we just got an offer from Tooth and Nail. And we were a band in '02 that was recording ourselves
Right.
and making our own records. And at that time, that was very rare. And so Tooth and Nail offered us a licensing deal so we could make more money on the front end. And 5 years after the release of Destination Beautiful, we got to own our masters back. And so we were just young. Like I said, I was 20. And so I was like, sure. And I knew Tooth and Nail very well.
Yeah.
I knew Fueled by Ramen because actually, coincidentally, the EP that came out before Clarity, I think it was just called Jimmy Eat World, was out on Fueled by Ramen. So this is going to be before, Gym Class Heroes and
Right.
Paramore and
Fall Out
Boy, Academy is all these bands. They were not on Fueled by Ramen. Fueled by Ramen was a lot more indie. And so we said, well, we just want to be sure that even though we might have a line or a reference here and there, that we don't get pigeonholed as a Christian band if we do end up signing with Tooth and Nail.
Right.
The band that I was in high school was called Sky's the Limit, and our manager was the manager of a Christian bookstore.
Oh,
And
sick.
so, like, they had that thing, that big long list that was like, if you like, this band, check out this band.
Right.
If you like, and it was just like, it was
Keach referred to that time earlier as the Christian bookstore era.
Okay.
And I'm rolling with that because that's real good.
What
That's
they're
true.
really trying to say
Yeah.
is if your flesh likes Linkin Park,
If your flesh-
then your spirit man
Yeah.
will love.
I like that.
what's the Christian Linkin Park?
Can I?
Skillet
Why not?
Sure, for
I
this
hate
argument,
Skillet.
that's
Yeah.
fine.
for episodic. Every episode, I hate Skillet. Go ahead.
I like the one that was like, if you like this, then you can still like it. It'd be like, if you like POD, then check out POD. Yeah. I would see that sometimes. Like, what?
No
That's so
way.
great.
Yeah.
If you like POD,
yeah.
you're never gonna believe it.
If you like Switchfoot, check out Switchfoot. That was in there
Don't
sometimes.
branch out.
It was like a
was.
way to make you feel like, oh wait, this band's like secular and Christian at the same time. Like I'm gonna stick with this.
Yeah.
That's
If you
amazing.
like Mercy Me.
If you like Mercy Me,
Switch one.
well, moving on.
You can only
Okay,
imagine.
so yeah, there is a lot of themes, especially earlier on, and I would almost argue that like I've heard a lot of the human heart, and I would argue in a different light completely.
Oh.
There's themes there too, but staying with Destination Beautiful,
Yeah.
there's a lot of even like in what's the line in Embers and Envelopes?
We'll see the one whose glory never ends.
Yeah. I assume you're not talking about Zach there.
I'm not. Didn't know him yet. Otherwise, it would have been him.
Yeah, it would have been him.
Because he didn't join our band until we put out that album. Otherwise, that's a Zach reference
Yeah.
through and through.
That's what I figured, but
So May was comprised. So like my friend Mark, who ended up playing bass for May and engineering for May, and even like doing co-production for May for a number of years, he recorded my previous band's album. He told me that we could get in the studio for free anytime in the gaps. He would learn how to be a better engineer, and I was like, well, I'm going to start this thing called May now. He's like, oh, cool, let's do that. And so that's how Destination Beautiful was made. But as a band, my friends who were the best musicians that I knew were the guys who played at church. And so,
that's how it usually is.
right.
Yeah.
And so May on Sunday nights, before we were called May, I was the worship leader for a band that had two different focuses, college age and high school.
Okay.
And so it was Jacob, our drummer from May. It was Rob, our keys player from May. And it was the guys who played, because Mark didn't play bass yet. So like it was our bass player. And I would sing and lead during like the college age part of, and then, this guy named Sean Foyt, he's
Yep.
like,
Yeah.
Yep.
he was
We
the
know him.
high school,
No
like we
shot.
all went to the same church together.
Oh wow.
And so
Virginia Beach is wild.
Virginia Beach is wild. We could talk about that for a long time. But
Yeah.
so May was this like worship, band. And then every once in a while we would get into the studio with a key I had, as a worship leader.
Yeah.
We'd write and jam and rehearse. And then we'd go to our friend Mark's studio and record like one song a month for Destination Beautiful. So we were surrounded by like the Christian church themes, and like we were attending and we were
influence, yeah.
serving and we were a part of it. And as a lot of musicians do, they come out of the church. A lot of really great singers on shows like American Idol and stuff, like they're like, oh, I spent all this time in the church.
Yeah.
And so like that seemed really normal for me. My dad was in a band when he was in high school and in college age years, and he was in a Christian band. And so like it just seemed really normal to be that kind of I'd like to pursue music that way, I would say.
To have those underlying themes.
Totally.
But also still being 19 and like, I just broke up with this girl.
Totally. I mean, because like emo was so important to me, and so I was
Love
listening.
to hear you say that.
What's that?
I love to hear you say that.
Oh, well, at the time it absolutely was, and so like, what?
At the time.
Well, let me say more because
Okay, we'll say more.
because the thing is like, the heart on your sleeve approach to lyric writing and like what's going on in the moment, like, sort of immortalize that in song. Like that's what Dashboard Confessional was doing. That's what, Mineral and Get Up Kids and Sunny Day Real Estate. And I was just like, I want to do that. And so when you're 19, when you're 20, you only write about what you know.
Which is so little.
It's so little. So
Yeah.
it's like, well, my heart hurts. So I'm going to write about that.
Yeah.
And the church really burnt
And Jesus
me.
made it better. And then,
Well, yeah, at times. But the church really burnt me. So like I wrote about that too. And I was very honest about that in like the lyrical writing.
No, I like that. And I think that's also can be a component of all Christian music is not just he came from heaven to earth.
Shoo!
Dave has this magic ability to just instantly be able to clap on the 1 and the 3.
It's
If
great.
you're a musician, you'll know that he'll just instantly out of nowhere.
It's a trolling.
I know.
It's like a trolling like mechanism of mine. If
But
you
it's
start
really
singing, I'll
funny.
just,
Love it.
or I'll just kind of.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get creative with it.
Also,
Yeah.
Dave dances are great. We have I hope I'm not spoiling anything by this, but
Oh, I was gonna
and-
dance later.
And Dave's May's got a new record coming called The Human Heart. I know you've already talked about that.
Sure.
But I filmed a lot of making it,
Yeah,
and there's a lot of Dave dancing.
I do like to dance in the studio.
So
That's
whenever
true.
he like gets a groove, like oh yeah, the Dave like one step comes out.
I got moves.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, you're doing it. Yeah. Yeah. He's got he got the. Anyways, so there's themes that continue, I think, with you. But like, the cool thing with, I think I'm gonna have to say this a lot. There's a line,
Okay.
okay, and you have the CCM bands
True.
who would play music that sounded like ours, but it's not quite the same as the bands on this side of the line
Yep.
who are authentically just good at music. Not to say there's not good stuff over here, but they're just good musicians that feel things that sometimes have something to do with something spiritual, sometimes have to do with something real in their life. They lost a friend, their family got a divorce, a breakup, and there's like real issues other than word of God speak. Like there's real there's
Shanda.
real issues on this side. And what I love about your songwriting is you nail this side. You like are, and I, like I said, I've heard a lot of the new record. I like. It's so cool to hear, X years later, that you're the 40-some-year-old version of yourself, but you still can deliver the same heart on your sleeve approach just from the perspective of you 20-some years later.
Well, thank you for saying that. I think that now more than ever, I'm willing to do that.
Yeah.
We
had this conversation.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like in the studio as
Yeah.
well. So like, my daughter turned 6 like a week
Oh
ago.
yeah, how was her birthday?
It was great.
Yeah.
It was great. It was at a trampoline park.
Oh, heck.
So yeah, I was like sweaty 6 minutes into it with 2 hours to go. You know,
How long were we here for?
it's like yeah,
Oh, yeah.
and then you have to go eat like carb heavy pizza
Awesome.
and then go
Yeah,
do it
yeah,
again.
yeah.
It's
And a slushy.
yeah. Oh yeah, just like loaded up on sugar and carbs. No, so I have a 6-year-old daughter, and I've been going through what my friends know, and it's I wouldn't say it's public, but it's not private. Like a 4.5-year long divorce.
It literally, it's longer than I've known you.
It's true.
Or like as long as I've known
I
you.
dated this person for 3 years, and I can't. We were married for a while, of course, but like I can't get away from it.
Yeah.
4.5 years deep, and so I've decided that the best like therapy that I can give myself in terms of not like holistically, but in terms of making this May album is just to be honest.
Yeah.
And to be like. To respect privacy, because like eventually I won't be going through a divorce. I'll just be a formerly married person in that respect. But there's a lot to feel, and if you don't if you don't express it somehow, it gets clogged up. And I spent a good part of my 30s knowing that divorce was inevitable, but like not being honest. And I spent a lot of time dealing with codependency and like not wanting to be a divorced person, and like making those decisions instead of looking at myself and saying, well, where's happiness and where's authenticity and where's honesty? And I wasn't going there. So like I'd be this guy who would, I would produce a band and I'd be like, just be honest and just like tell me like what you're feeling that made you write this lyric when you sing this part. And I would just be like in my brain.
Probably said the same thing to us.
I'm sure, but I'd be in my brain like I am miserable emotionally, and I'm not sharing the truth of that with anybody. So I was clogged for a long time, and so now more than ever, I'm as honest as I can be in terms of like using May's songwriting specifically to write cryptic but genuine, like emotive stories.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just say the word.
Yeah.
Just say it.
It's really funny because on this tour we just did, every night we played this song from our first album, and it's in fact about breaking up with the girl I dated in high school. And I'm like, we wanted to be emo in 2003, and here I am in 2025, like about to sing a song about a girl that I broke up with in 2002.
Yeah.
It's like, that's about as emo as it gets. So yeah, I mean, I'm still, I think like, because it's so trendy right now to say emo that I want to be, I want to be authentic to like what I'm writing and what songwriters write, because I think you can say that emo is Sigur Rós, and I don't understand what they're saying a lot. You can say that emo is, I don't know, like yacht rock from the 70s. Yeah. And like Phil Collins is emo. When you think about like the divorce that he went through and like how honest he was, like some of this lyrical,
How can you just walk away from me?
You like,
oh my
like give that like the same clean tone, and you just pick through it, and you're like, wait, that's
Midwest
an emo song.
emo.
It totally is. It totally is.
Dang, we should do that.
I think it'd be cool. I think Phil Collins, like an emo cover, like tribute album
Of Against All Odds.
Yeah, you just like take like
Lord.
9 Phil Collins songs, and you get emo bands to cover them, and it'd probably be dope.
Oh my gosh.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. No, that's a.
I agree.
Well, thank you.
You're so welcome.
That's a good point. I never thought about it like that. But even with the perspective, even with the like full gap of what we would just consider emo and pop punk in our whole world, the genre base in that is so wide.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
Because the May fan may never listen to a Taking Back Sunday because it's too heavy. Because I would classify you like indie emo.
I love that.
And they may be like, Taking Back Sunday is too heavy for me.
Sure.
Or they may never touch an August Burns Red. But there's Furnace Fest. There's plenty of opportunities where you guys could be on the same bill.
We got super lucky, I think, because of being on Tooth and Nail, in part. Like when emo was what it was and what indie rock was what it was, the under the radar version of these touring bands in 2003, we're going to play with Me Without You and Emery, and we're going to play with Coheed and Cambria. In like the first like year and a half of being a band, like we're gonna play shows with these guys, and you think of like what was before that. Well, At the Drive-In would play shows with Jimmy Eat World, and so like it was more about the expression and less about the genre, And I think like that's what we gravitated towards as well. And so we were a band's band. We got invited to tour with bands that were bigger than us that would help us, pull our fan base. And it didn't matter if they were piano rock or if they were like a heavy screamo band. We would just play our set and we'd connect with people.
I think even back to the Destination Beautiful tour, like there were people there that weren't a fan of us that loved Vo.
Yeah.
And then there were people there that are like the Singularity May fans. They were like, you guys, I like this.
Yeah.
But it was just cool. Dude, that little package of us was awesome.
Man, it was
so
so
much fun.
great.
But even like just in
the
that
most part.
section, you see like even within your band and just different albums you've done, the like spread of, well, I like the heavier May, or I like the softer May, or you know, like I like the hair up May, or but there's just so many different like sounds that can come from the same word.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that word is Christian.
Oh God. You know what's crazy?
Dang.
See what I did there?
Yeah, I love
go
that.
Ahead. You go ahead. That's
Two
fine.
things.
All right.
So the first time we played together, which I don't think we talked too much that show because it was
At
it was
At
our-
Motorco?
I
yeah,
talked
it
to
was-
Renee more than I talked to anyone that night.
Yeah, it was a very random thing because I had not heard of May, but I had a really close friend who
Who videoed for us that night.
videoed for us that night, who came to the show, who looked at me and he was like, "I'm so stoked for this." And I was like, "Really?" And he was like, "This was Kristen and I's first date.
Oh, wow.
Was a May show. Now they got divorced." So that's
they did.
unfortunate.
Yeah.
But
That's a coin,
Which is
that's
gonna
a
go
coin
into
flip
a
away
whole
from
different
happening.
conversation.
I
There
love
we
that.
go.
But I will say, after getting to know
Oh, that's
you
great.
guys for, well, I guess just for me, probably the past little over a
2
year
or 3
now.
years, yeah.
What I told you, and I had to tell you something awesome.
Oh, cool.
So, as many people know, I still am like full-time worship guy at a church. And so my most
I know what you're about
random
to say.
task that I do for each series, whatever we're doing, is I'll make a very specific playlist. And it could be all like radio worship stuff. It could be I'm bringing in U2. It could be a lot of things. And someone said for this series, they're like, dude, I just feel like I want to feel like some like old school emo stuff, maybe, which is very not what I would do for a playlist. So there's tons of stuff on the playlist, but my favorite song that's on the playlist is freaking Bloom.
Ooh.
Like,
That's your favorite song?
Love will
Back
find
on
a way
Apple
to
Music
bloom,
now.
bro. Like that for me, like it was always funny for Em and I because we love the
Yeah.
But like
We would do that every time we left
Yeah.
the show for like the next 45
I'd be like, I don't
minutes.
care what we do as long as we hear Bloom and then we can eat.
Yeah.
But seriously
That was
for
the
that.
rule. Bloom and then we can eat.
And so then I actually like looked up lyrics one day. I'm pretty sure I sent you like a funny video of me singing it on piano or something like that. But
Yeah,
like,
that
Oh,
was good.
yeah,
You
that
sounded
was
good.
great.
oh, thanks, man.
You sounded
But
good.
That was in
I
the
was
group
like,
chat, RIP.
oh, R.I.P.
No, it's still going strong.
It's still going. We just haven't texted it in a while. But yes, that is my favorite May song because when you actually look at those lyrics, you're like, God, that's some amazing stuff that's actually gonna make sense to no matter where you're at, people.
Oh, wow.
Which I love.
Got a little bit of the chills there. Thanks for saying that.
Hallelujah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Oh, yeah.
What was your second thing?
What was my second thing?
You said you had 2 things.
The first thing was also
The first thing was Austin.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was in a different room.
Welcome back.
You're in the upper room.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hallelujah.
come on. Don't you axe me right now.
So, all right, so Destination Beautiful comes. Then you go to Everglow.
Yeah.
At that point, like, May is Destination Beautiful, you can say it is, but at that point, May is defined as a successful band. Like, once you hit that second album of, like, because the first album, like, you can have a good tour, you can have a good run, but it's like, is this going to work again? But there's a lot of people that Everglow, that's their favorite record. I mean, you know, because you're about to tour. You're such a weasel. You texted me, you're like, hey, I got something you're going to like, and then doesn't tell me what it is for like months.
Oh.
And I was like, okay. He's like, I'll show you when I see you. And I was like, no, tell me. It doesn't tell me. And then I see the flyer, and I'm like, you weasel.
This
Because
tour.
you know I love the Spill Canvas.
Yeah, yeah. So we're touring with the Spill Canvas this fall, and we're both playing our 20-year-old albums. And then Ace
One
from the early November is opening up. So it'll be like just like a throwback, like celebratory night
Nice.
with
Yeah.
all bands that are still making music to the day. So,
And I still can't do stand-up in front of it.
Oh, dear Lord.
dude, I need like a solid 2 minutes just to hear that like it's not gonna go off the rails.
yeah,
That was the first thing I said when I was like, I don't want to play shows with y'all. I just want to do stand-up.
I know, and I'm still waiting to hear what 2 minutes of you staying funny is gonna sound
you
like.
don't want to hear
Got
it.
him.
Yeah.
We can't even do it on the podcast.
We get
Yeah.
it on the podcast.
Right.
Yeah, we're getting terrible. But yeah, that is awesome. You're not coming even close to here, though.
There
Or more dates.
More dates about to be announced. Yeah.
Okay.
We'll be very close.
You know I'll be there.
Yeah, of course. We'll party.
We'll party?
Yeah.
That means, go ahead.
No. I just go ahead. You can say what You're gonna say we're gonna party?
Oh yeah, that means we're going to a trampoline park. Slushies all around.
Can you imagine just like the trampoline park thing happening like right before load-in?
Oh Lord.
Everybody would be done by like 3:30 p.m. I'm like, I don't know. I think I'll
Dude.
just sit down.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially. I can't say it. But I was just gonna say, especially certain people in May would have been like, they wouldn't have made their gear up on stage.
No,
Yeah.
no,
So that's funny.
not a chance.
One really cool thing for me. We'll go back, but I just want to say this so I don't forget it.
Yeah.
One really cool thing was 2023 Furnace Fest year. May's Destination Beautiful set there was like electric.
Really?
Like it may have been the best playthrough. That night was just like for y'all was very, very good.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know.
I never get to see the band
you
play.
were vibing that night.
Really?
Yeah, because I was shooting
Yeah.
and I was just like,
So you could feel it from even just staying on stage
yeah.
with the camera
Do you
like rolling
remember?
around.
Do you remember the? Do you remember that video? Can you see it in your head?
Yeah.
The you with like your hair flipping was like my favorite clip.
It's hard for me to flip hair, I'll tell you that.
Well, back then I think your hair was a little longer.
A little bit. Still. I'm
But
holding on to what I've got.
that there was with a band. We talked about this in a different episode, so I'd actually like to know your opinion because I mentioned you
Cool.
because once again something about you that just drives me nuts. I did a cover of
Yeah.
Embers and Envelopes when I was doing like a little series before Furnace Fest, and I posted it. And I texted you and said, "How the hell do you sing this song?" And I was like, "This is impossible." You're like, "Oh, I dropped it like 2.5 steps."
Oh yeah. It's recorded in G natural,
Yeah.
and we play it in E flat.
Yeah, that
now.
was what I said.
Nice.
But one thing that we had talked about was with a lot of these 20 years, would you rather see the band be with the original crew and just try it and then maybe have to bring the key down? Or would you rather hear it maybe with some different members, maybe even a different vocalist? We were kind of talking about Steven and Maddie at that point. Would you rather hear it be really good and in the original key? Or how do you feel about songs being brought down?
Oh, I'm for it.
Well, of course you are.
I'm for it.
Could you make it through Embers in G?
No.
Yeah.
No. In fact, I could barely make it through Embers in G in
When you did it?
2002.
It's high.
Yeah, I remember like
It's high.
not talking for like like a day and a half before I went in the studio.
So why didn't you
to
just
hit
drop
that.
it then?
I think because I was so young that I wasn't like tuning the guitar down a half step. I wasn't
Yeah.
like transposing. I was writing something on guitar and being like, "This is the key of
This
the
is
song."
it. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
all there is to
And
it.
I'll be able to sing it. I'm just tired today.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah. I've done
Yeah.
that.
And by the time you were singing, most of it was probably tracked band-wise, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's impossible to go back. And then on top of it, you know, maybe I was
when they recorded it was like 8-track recorders. They didn't have Pro Tools.
No, that's not true. We recorded on Fruity Loops.
Oh, dude.
We did. We recorded on Fruity Loops.
Which is a real big like beat producer doll, right?
Which
Yeah.
makes sense for Virginia Beach
Yeah.
because I don't know if you know this, but Dave actually discovered Pharrell Williams.
That's absolutely untrue. I did get to play for an artist that Pharrell produced.
No, I know.
That's
That's
what I,
similar.
That's what I did. It's
Did
almost
we
the
not say
same.
the
That's
same
almost
thing?
the
You can either play for the artist that he produces, or you can say you
The artist
discovered
formerly
him.
known.
I heard
as.
the same
Yeah.
thing.
I heard the same thing. We said the same thing.
True.
Um,
yeah.
Oh, Lord.
Tomato,
Okay,
tomato.
Everglow.
Yep.
You're booming.
Yep.
It's 2005.
Yes.
You're doing bigger tours.
Opening up for the Foo Fighters and Weezer.
Yeah.
It's like the biggest tour we've ever done.
Yeah.
To this day, probably.
Yeah. Other than what we did last year. Yeah. I
Other,
God.
other than the,
That was so
Yeah.
much
the
self-control.
Destination Beautiful
Yeah.
20-year tour.
and the one-off show.
And the one-off.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Can't talk
in
about
Fort
it.
Worth.
but
So
yeah,
much
yeah,
self-control.
Yeah.
You've
Proud
moved
of
up
you.
from the for fans of, and now you're the band that.
Oh
is at
yeah.
the top of
You're
it.
May for fans of
Yeah.
May.
May for fans of May.
Oh my
That
God.
would be so sick. And never went back to the Christian bookstore. But if it was
Yeah.
like, if you're into May, you should check out May. I'd be like, what?
Do Christian?
It's
Is there
some
any
Severance
Christian
stuff right
bookstores
now.
left?
Some Severance. Do you watch Severance?
I do. I'm
Ooh.
halfway through season 2.
Oh man.
I haven't seen it, so don't.
It's
do
so
it.
good.
I know.
It's
I know.
so
I know.
good.
I know,
It's so good.
I know. You got me sidetracked. Okay, you're doing bigger tours. You're
Yeah.
on the way up. And and I asked Chad this today, and he said there may have been some mention with tooth and nail specifically back then.
Yeah.
Was there any sort of like, for lack of a better term, we're going to call it a morality clause?
No,
Well, because you've seen the Juliana theory stuff.
I have, but I haven't really paid attention to it. Tell me what they've been saying.
Basically, that they specifically, which the era they're talking about is like would be before
5 years earlier.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but having to be held to like basically super high standards, pretty early on.
Yeah.
I call it the lead by example document.
Yeah, that's what he called it.
Was it in there?
I have no idea.
We don't know. Chad said like he's not sure if there was anything in writing, but like they were a Christian label, are a Christian label, like at the core of it.
Well, don't you think like in 2003, 4, 5, that BEC was the Christian label and Tooth and Nail was now like just kind of like the indie alternative, and then there was also Solid State, which is like the metal label. And
Yeah.
so like if you were on Tooth and Nail in 05, you saw that there was an umbrella that Brandon Ebel, was, and that he had these 3 labels, and that Tooth and Nail wasn't really considered that anymore.
I don't know, because if you look at the like biggest bands coming out of it, you
Yeah.
look at like 2004, you've got They're Only Chasing Safety.
Right.
Then you've got Emery doing The Week's End. Like you've got these like hitters that are starting to hit.
Are they feeling like Christian?
Oh yeah,
records?
at that point, 100%.
Emery too?
Oh yeah, very. Emery is really good about what I think we both love about them. They're really great about They have this one song that, like, the end of the song is like Sarah stealing money from her parents, Eric's lying straight to John about Megan and the things that went on, Jessica's a gossip, Lara's a slut, and basically the end of it is we're all people dealing with things. So what I loved about Emery, still love about Emery, is they're really good about like, which is kind of part of what I want to do with this podcast. I've said it in other episodes, is humanizing people. Where a lot of people in that space that were looked at as Christian artists were put on such a pedestal by fans, and what became of like Christian kind of branching into mainstream spaces. Emery was really good about humanizing people through their lyrics. So I would argue, that a lot of the big Tooth and Nail exports at that time, especially when you look at Under Oath, because I've
Under
mentioned
Oath,
this
sure.
2 or 3 times today. Chris Dudley was on CCM Magazine podcast.
Okay.
And they
recently?
Yeah, like a week or 2 ago. And they were like, you guys were the cover at one point. And this is probably 2005 for like Define the Great Line.
When they announced the Everglow tour with Spill Canvas, I didn't see it in person because I was late to it, but we were tagged by CCM Magazine's Instagram handle, and I was like, wait, what is this? How did this happen? But it was too late. I couldn't go back and see it.
No.
But I was just like, I was curious.
Yeah.
Well, what about, like Amber Lynn? Like, that's a band that, lead singer
very
left
Christian.
to be a pastor.
Yeah.
I've been friends with Steven, half my life, but, like, I never picked up on Christian vibes from Amber Lynn.
When life is in discord, I praise you, the Lord.
Well, I mean,
It's
like,
one of their most popular songs.
I mean, if you think about it, like, U2 would be a band that you could grab a lyric and be like,
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
is more authentic to
100%.
Jesus
Yeah.
than like the Christian worship songs that are being sung.
Yeah.
But then like you don't go around just thinking like everything that they're doing is like Christian art.
The Line.
Right. So I feel like
Yeah.
all of the bands on Tooth and Nail that I was friends with and touring with, like I went to the UK. We played a festival and then we toured Me Without You and Coheed and Cambria.
Okay.
And Aaron, lead singer of Me Without You,
Yeah.
we would like be sitting getting like fish and chips at like a cheap place right across the street from the venue, and he
Cool.
would just buy food, take it outside, talk to a homeless person, and just like do his ministry.
Yeah.
And it was awesome.
Right.
And I never thought of him as a Christian. I thought of him as like a Christ follower. You know what I mean? Like the difference?
There's a difference.
There's a huge difference. Like he wasn't trying to show his religion to anybody. He was
Right.
trying to live his life in a way that like he was like lovingly convicted to do so. And we were in the UK. We were like not in Pennsylvania, where they're from, where it's like you have a little bit of a stress because like your grandma's going to come to the show and you can't say shit on stage tonight or like in the dressing room because like you'll like your mom will look at you weird. It's like we're away from everybody. And like this guy is as authentic as I've ever seen in that space. And so like I think that the whole tooth and nail thing in 05, 06, it didn't feel to me and to May, I can speak on behalf of May, I'm sure, it didn't feel like we were in some sort of like box. The only time we did was when we would get like these offers to play Cornerstone and some of these festivals because and we were a little bit irritated with the church. Like I said, I got burnt on the church in those years. Cornerstone was the festival that was making the bands buy their own water from the venue and charging like $4 a can.
That's crazy.
And taking like a 40% merch rate or whatever it was. And it was just like, you're taking from us and you're making us pay you. And you're doing this in the name of like a ministry. And I don't feel ministered to at all today.
Yeah.
So like.
Matter of fact, I feel poor.
I do. I feel like you made me poorer today by being on your
Hallelujah.
stage. We never played Cornerstone after 03, like we never did because we had such a bad experience with it. And it wasn't like people were disrespectful. It just didn't feel like all of the festivals that we were playing or could play, like Warped Tour and stuff, where like there was this culture in this community where all of the music and all the bands like cared for each other, and that didn't feel like the case in 03 at Cornerstone.
Warped Tour had a lot of bands like Case the Day, Under Oath, leading these like Bible studies at Warped Tour.
True, and we never participated in any of that. No,
that makes sense.
Yeah, that wasn't really our thing, and honestly, like. Going back to saying this in a different way, because I was so burnt by the church, I spent my years in May getting away from all things Christian.
Right.
I really did. Not like I tried out new religions or I became, atheist or anything. I just like didn't. I went from the guy who started the band by being a worship band on Sunday nights for like college-age ministry to not stepping foot in a church for years. The girl that I wrote a lot of songs about on Destination Beautiful, her parents were pastors of the church, and they violated like our privacy. And I was talking to a pastor about like dating this girl, and he was going back and telling her parents everything I was telling them. And he was also trying to manage May at the same time.
Dang.
And as like a person who's affirming in all cases as a 43-year-old man, he was a closeted gay man that was like using young men to like get off on. And so like I got out of the church fast.
Whoa. Okay.
Wow.
I got out of the church fast.
That's wild.
Yeah.
I don't blame you.
I can see your concern.
Virginia Beach is crazy.
At that time, it was really messed up. And so, like, by the time I'm, like, writing, for the Everglow and touring, like, I'm not thinking about the church and ministry and Christians and, like, by any means. I'm just, like, not wanting to offend my grandmother. It's true. Because I lived with my grandparents, like, through those years. I'd come home from tour and, like, they had I lived in their house. So, like, I just didn't want to say something or be something that would...
upset.
Yeah, but I wasn't like thinking about my mama and my pops like on tour in Seattle like 2 months later. But when I come home, I'd be like, gotta make sure that
gotta leave all the girls.
They
out
feel
there,
respected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know we've talked about this at least as far as now, but leaving. Were you? Like you said, it's not like you were doing something different as far as like becoming a Muslim or something like
Right.
that. Your burnout was not necessarily, and this is what I think some people don't understand when some of these bands go through like deconstruction phases or something like that. Your burnout may have, and more than likely has nothing to do with the Son of God. It has to do with those people
who represent him
who
poorly.
represent.
Well, I think that's what's being said right now is. And I don't take stances publicly on a lot of things.
Except tonight.
But tonight, here we go. But I feel like a lot of people right now are so burnt out because Republican, Christian, Trump, Fox News. It's like all
Buzzwords.
It's all like in this conglomerate right now. And so people aren't saying, well, the reason why people are leaving the church at this, record high rate, they say it's because, well, everybody wants to live in sin and everybody wants to be woke and all this stuff. It's like, I think you're missing the point that like you are deterring people from the church with who you are saying is godly, who you are saying is like Christ. Because Jesus is the best, in terms of like the way he lived his life.
Right.
And for me, the way that Christians in 2025 in America are aligning Jesus with a president or a news station or a political party. I'm not saying anything about the political party. I'm not saying anything about the news station. I'm not even saying anything about Trump. Yeah. I'm saying, like, if you really...
It's the admiration of Trump.
Right.
Yeah.
And so if you really love authentically Jesus and Jesus' teaching and Jesus' miracles and Jesus' like inclusivity, then you can't have it both ways.
Right.
And so, like, going back to what you said, like the whole idea, like when people deconstruct or they move away from the faith, it never is like, I don't really like what Jesus was saying ultimately. Like, I don't believe anybody would say that who grew up.
There's some people that become full atheists and
I do understand, but I still think your point is that, like, they don't get burnt out on what Jesus' life was like. They don't say, oh, Jesus had ulterior motives the whole time.
He was healing people so people would watch.
Right. He just wanted he wanted that ego to go crazy. After
He wanted Mary
followers,
Magdalene to be thirsty boy.
Right. It's like nobody would believe that. But somehow today we've got a...
That's a clip. I like that.
What?
I said he wanted Mary Magdalene to be thirsty.
He did.
Yeah.
He was
that's
a thirst
clip.
trap.
Yeah.
So I was walking around like, in the loincloth with like the ripped abs.
I've seen those pictures of him.
Yeah.
I love the people that have the pictures of Jesus
Yeah.
and it's just Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah.
Like the grandmas who have it and it's just Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan Kenobi.
I like the one that's like
my favorite.
chiseled 128 pound Jesus.
Yeah.
It's like,
Dude,
who's getting off on this right now? That's
one of my
Crazy.
favorite things I've ever done in church is, and usually I hate what's been done 1,000 times. We've talked about it with Keach, like the Christian opener or like the secular openers to open, like to,
that's how I found
to
Haste
be
Today.
attractional
It was the opener song at church.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm so over that, like, been over that. Anyone who works with me knows that, like, I tense up at a meeting when someone's like, what if we did this? And I'm like,
What if they say they want to play Bloom?
I'm in for that all
All
day,
right, there you
honestly.
go.
Well, let me
Put
ask
me
you
on a
this.
piano just for that. I'm
Do
in.
they alter it, or is it just the straight? Because the thing that's killing me is like the Christian version.
Yeah.
Lyrically.
He
Yeah,
is
no.
my
I will
hero.
not alter it. I will
Right,
not.
it's just
I
like,
hate that.
Let's like
Watching
make this
as
more
he
inviting
says.
by
Yes.
having like
Yeah, like pray to a God
is
that I do
bold.
believe in.
Yeah.
It's like,
Right.
screw you. That's not the freaking point. Like,
Yeah.
but there
Right,
was
I hear
every single week they animated something different for this series, and they were like, Anthony, you're funny. Do you want to do voiceover stuff? And I'm not a big animation guy for that stuff. Like, but it was funny.
Okay.
And the best one-liner I had, that it was like a still image of Jesus teaching, like Sermon on the Mount vibes, and it had people around. And it was all like random. And there's just one dude like sitting there like this listening. And the one thing that I said was like, what are people going to do when they figure out that Jesus wasn't white?
that's what he's thinking.
Like, yeah, like that was like my whole thing. Because
Yeah.
that's my favorite when you talk about like pictures of Jesus and all this
yeah,
stuff. And I'm like, you do realize that he wasn't like chiseled surfer boy from California, bro. Like, you do realize that,
But what's
right?
crazy is like kind of
Blue-eyed
what something you
Jesus.
said about
that's
your
me.
like your grandmother, because I have the exact same thing. Is like, at what point are certain arguments just not worth it?
Yeah.
You know, like grandma, you have this picture of Jesus in your house. Jesus was clearly Jewish and Middle Eastern.
Yeah.
This is not what he looked like. Are you gonna go take it down?
Yeah,
No.
exactly.
So, but picking battles can be
I think like the older I get, the battles aren't worth
picking.
at all.
I agree.
Yep.
Yeah.
When I was 20, I was ready to pick them all.
Yes, you were.
Yeah.
I hear that too. Yeah, from
Can you
experience.
feel it still a little bit? From him? Just feel it a little bit. Can
Even
you
the
The battle
imagine?
pick.
The battle picking spirit.
I don't know. think it's
I'll
been.
pray over the spirit of battle
If it's
picking.
been 6 months since I've seen you, then I think you're 6 months closer to less battle picking.
Okay.
Yeah, might
Thank
mellow out a
you.
little bit.
Yeah.
I'm prophetic here.
Oh,
How about that?
I will say to what Dave has previously said about a lot of the statements you just made.
Oh.
I think what you're saying is just cut all the crap and just love well.
Yeah,
Please.
I think that like if you, I've had these conversations with both my grandfather and my dad, and this would be my mom's dad and then my dad. So like no relation.
Yep.
And my parents divorced when I was like 18 months old or something, so they don't have family ties to this day.
Same.
My granddad like unfollowed the band
awesome.
once when we took a stance on Senate Bill 6, like the whole like down in Texas, abortions won't work even in cases of rape and incest and I said, you know, I can't go for that. And my grandfather unfollowed us. And then like he called me one day and he was just like, I started thinking about people who aren't as like, you know, they don't have healthcare availability and like, you know, some 15-year-old girl that's like living in a poor community, like has to be a mom for the rest of her life, but doesn't have to if this option is available to her. I'm like, yeah, I'm not trying to suggest that we start killing babies. Like I love life, but I love that life that like doesn't get to like have one if they have this kid because they got raped at 13 and you know. And so, and my dad, he was like, one day he called me because I like long phone conversations. Like when I get on the phone with somebody, sometimes we'll talk for like 3 hours.
He never answers.
Or I don't talk.
Never
It's
answers
one or the
my
other.
calls.
It's like, you know, but my dad called me one day. He's like, we've been talking
Can't
a lot
talk at the
lately.
trampoline park. That's what I always get when I call it.
Well, I go there a lot. We have season passes now. Oh yeah. My dad said he didn't believe in the death penalty anymore, and I asked him why, and he said we just like talked enough, and he thought like it wasn't fair for people to choose who gets to live, and like when redemption is off the table anymore. And I was like, oh, cool. I don't like have these conversations like saying I don't believe in the death penalty because that's not helpful. Like the whole picking battles thing isn't helpful to just like have a stance and then try to hold it. But if you just converse with your friends and people that you love, you might find that like you're changing your stance on something whether you realize it or not. I'm not saying that I made that person change. I mean that like I've been changing and I'll continue to change. And I don't know, I feel like one thing that frustrates me about Christians is like they think that like when you believe you have to be like hardline in the stand, like in the sand rather on things. And I don't see that going well very often. I don't see love being represented very well when the hard lines are drawn.
Much more attacking.
It's always attacking.
For something you don't fully understand.
Yeah.
Right.
And we may never.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when the perfect comes, I quoted that verse earlier.
Yeah.
What-
I mean, that's
whatever.
like the whole thing, right? It's
Corinthians.
like you're like, man, all I do is sow this into the world and good things and try to love well, and I just feel like, you know, life F's me. And the truth of the matter is, I mean, you may not see or reap that reward until the other side of eternity, and no one wants to talk about that. Depending on your
I'm
beliefs,
building
of course.
houses in heaven.
Come on now.
Story goes.
I got a mansion. Hallelujah.
So many houses.
When we made the jump and the decision to be a Christian band, Dave was one of the people I talked to about it. Do you remember that?
I do.
And I said, and I still stand on this, and this is where we're at. I said, at the end of the day, I think that we all collectively believe that Jesus loves people. And that's where we stand. You want to talk about everything else? Fine. We can talk about it in one-on-one conversations and, like, you know, and where we agree that we can walk away. And we were talking about this in a different episode. Like, we're so part of the humanizing of all this is like we as a nation, like we've already talked about political, like we as a nation are so quick to instantly label, oh, you're on this side, or oh, you're on the other side. I can't even talk to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's an insane concept to
Yep.
me, because I would argue that Zach and Zach Gehring and I would probably we do disagree on a lot of things. I love Zach,
Totally.
and I think Zach and I have great conversations because I respect Zach enough, and I would hope he respects me enough to be like, at the end of the day, we may disagree, but I don't feel like there's malicious intent.
Yeah.
And the other person's heart. Where when you're talking about, I know the exact person you're talking about, not like a person, but the type of person.
Theoretically.
Yeah, like there's people that are just out to like hate.
Yeah.
And
My goodness.
In the name of Jesus.
Yeah.
in the name of Jesus, in the name of
Yeah.
the red team, in the name of Now, if you're an Anakin Skywalker fan, you want to kill all the younglings, I'm all for that. Just went and saw the movie, clapped when that happened. I'm all for that. That's fine.
You know what, though? I think this is a beautiful segue for me to
Second.
thank our sponsors for this episode of the podcast with Dave Elkins. And I'm really excited about this sponsorship. And it's actually a collaboration. It's from the Southern Baptist Convention, partnering with HIMS. That's HIMS. And
Yes.
with the beautiful goal of creating theologically strong men on and off the court. So thank you guys for all your support, all that you do. We love you, kind of.
It's better than our last sponsor.
Yeah.
Our
Oh, no.
last sponsor was Truth Social.
Oof.
No.
These are all fake.
Technically,
Of course.
technically, when Keach cracked a Miller Lite, I said our sponsor was AA.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Just a small update, because you did say on and off the court.
yeah. Thank
it's
you.
80 to 81 going
No
into the fourth.
way.
That's great.
Yeah, 80 to 82. technically.
That's great.
So we'll check back in
Cool.
on that a little bit.
Cool. Thank you,
Cool.
Ryan.
See how everybody's going to do it. Whoever got it wrong has to run around the whole parking lot where we're at, pantless.
I would like to
Don't-
say that I don't know if any of us are comfortable doing that.
Nah, you'll be fine. We're in Madison. You're definitely going to get shot. You'll be fine. You'll be fine.
It's it's rough
Okay.
out there.
I love these stories
Yep.
about like bands that I feel like when bands do interviews, this is a different part of it. And also, this is the thing, another reason I wanted to do these. When bands do interviews, they're usually not by, I'll call this loosely because I know we're not on the same playing field, but like they don't usually do them by peers. In the sense of like their other bands and stuff like that. Usually it's like a host of something, and it's like someone you may have met one time and this, and
Sure.
there's no true attachment. But I feel like when you do something that, you know, is through a friend or a peer, like someone who goes through some of this similar things, then you get more fun stories.
Oh, yeah.
And things that are relatable. So let's talk about Singularity.
Oh, okay.
The last episode, with Keach, that ever episode, they were talking about Keach being, Aaron Lunsford being rich because of As C.D. Burns. Dave actually was rich during the Capitol phase
What do you mean?
because they were throwing money.
They threw money at us. They
Oh.
spent $800,000 to make Singularity.
Wow.
Crazy.
Yeah, they made it. So we made Destination Beautiful for free.
Yeah.
We made Everglow for $80,000.
Yeah.
And we made Singularity for $800,000.
I like these multiples of 10.
Wow.
The human heart is
$8 million.
trillions.
Yeah.
Better call Jeff Bezos.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. It's like $8 million they're gonna give us to make Human Heart. So Capitol was like about to go under, and there's 30 Seconds to Mars. There's this there's this documentary that they have that was when they were making the album that came out in 2007 or that they made in
With
06,
the kill
07.
and all that.
Yeah.
Great album.
It's this story, and frankly, Radiohead just got out of their deal. Like they had, delivered their 7 albums or whatever it was to Capitol, and they were free agents, and they saw that they could re-sign with Capitol, but they saw that it was changing hands, and that
EMI.
EMI is the umbrella company, and basically what happened, all of the Capitol people were fired. All of the Virgin Records staff took over the Capitol Records releases, and then the president or the CEO of the company was based out of the UK. And this is like 2007, right? So like digital is about to turn up, and social media is on the brink, and
MySpace is here.
Yeah, so like things are changing drastically, and Radiohead goes and says, "Hey, we have a new album and it's out right now, and you can pay whatever you want for it." Like, it was the Wild West, and our label just spent $800,000 on a record that they all got fired before it came out.
Yeah.
And so we were stuck. I remember going on tour. May was headlining. It was like an underplay. We're playing these smaller rooms on purpose, right, when Singularity came out. We had As Tall as Lions as our main support, and this band called A Deer in the Headlights.
Oh, I love it during the headlines.
Sick bands. We were
Run in the front.
Yeah, we were.
Dude, I love that.
We were
band.
on like the coolest tour that we
Yeah.
could manage,
That's
at
sick.
that time.
Wow, I forgot about that band.
And then we'd get to the venue and they'd say, "Well, we know that more people are supposed to be here, but we didn't get posters from your label to flyer the town, and we didn't get money to spend on print ads
Right.
beyond what we spend because Capitol Records." And I'm like, "What's going on?" And so I'd call our A&R. He's like, "Yeah, we're on a spending freeze. Like, we don't have the money to run posters through the printer and then ship them to venues while you're on tour."
Which
right
seems
now."
like the most minimal cost.
Yeah.
Right.
After every
After 800 grand, like
Yeah.
just spend $800 and ship everywhere in the country and help
yeah.
people know that we're on tour right now, and they wouldn't do it. They could not do it. Yeah.
Dang.
It was depressing.
But to clarify,
Mm.
this is Capital Christian.
Well, the thing is, we weren't dealing with Capital Christian in any capacity whatsoever.
Okay.
So they bought the rights from Tooth and Nail.
Right.
When we made Destination Beautiful, like I said, it was a license deal, but I didn't mention it was a one-off. So we were free agents the second that Destination Beautiful was in their hands. We could sign with any label for our next album. We signed with Tooth and Nail for
Everglow.
I think it was 2 albums for
Okay.
the Everglow. So it was the Everglow, and we owed them another one. And then Capitol came in and bought the
Understood.
rights. And Tooth and Nail came up and like put their label on Singularity, and Capitol put their label on Singularity. And then like the whole Capital Christian thing, I don't even think that was a thing in 07. I think that Capital Christian is like what took
More-
over the
yeah.
catalog, and
Right.
we, because of Tooth and Nail, got funneled into the Capital
It
Christian
was
side
a
of
thing,
things
but not a specific category.
at the time.
Right.
I don't know. Do you
Yeah.
think it was? Like in 07? Like what was Reliant K's
Five Score.
5 Score on?
Yeah.
What label?
Capital.
And was that Capital Christian as well?
I can't imagine them not being on Capital Christian.
Like our A&R was Ron Lafitte, who was like the VP of all A&R, and then Louis Bandick was our A&R, and he signed Jimmy Eat World at Capitol during Clarity. He signed.
I'm gonna look it up while we're talking. Keep going.
Oh, like if that was
Yeah,
the
yeah,
thing. I really don't know, and I'll just say it again. Like, we had no ties to like a Christian entity of the music industry when we were making Singularity. We were at our most what's the word?
Deconstructed? No.
I would say a word that means like what's the word that's kind of like debaucherous? We were at our most debaucherous time.
Bunch of aliens.
We were being heathens for
Yeah.
sure in 07. And what I mean is just like we were indulging in what you might do when you're on tour and you're you're just like touring around with a bunch of bands, like drinking and smoking and stuff like that. And we were down. We were like pretty honestly depressed. We lived in Hollywood for way too long to make that album. And 2 guys quit like right after we made that album. Like right away they quit.
Yeah.
Mark and Rob, our keys and bass player, they both got married and quit. And it was a shock to us. And I think it was because like we were burning the candle at both ends for 03, 04, 05, 06. And then 07, the album comes out and like you can't even find it anywhere. And like the album like hit 40 on Billboard, and it sold like I want to say it sold in its first week like 41,000 copies or
You
something.
know I love that record.
Singularity.
Yeah.
But then it just dropped off.
Yeah.
Where like Everglow.
But I would say that's because of the Capitol situation.
No doubt, because it wasn't like people weren't buying albums anymore because Spotify was a thing. It was like very
And especially
clear
being
that,
done by Howard. And
Howard
all-
Benson.
Yeah,
Howard
like
Benson
it's-
did 5 Score. He did All American Rejects Move Along. He did
Black Parade, My
Black
Kin.
Parade.
Yeah.
He did POD's
Satellite.
He did Hoobastank's The Reason. He was just all
I can
over
worship to that
at the
song.
time.
Yeah.
I can too.
I could.
I'm not a perfect person.
Minister Dave.
Yeah.
Minister.
That's one that they could play at your church.
Yeah.
You would say hell no. they tried to pull that one by.
Yeah, I looked it up and it just says Capitol. So,
Right.
But you're right. I don't think Capitol CMG existed.
I don't
like
think
that.
it did. And
There was probably a person that was like, "Hey, you're gonna handle all the Christian people for
Right.
like his cataloging and stuff."
yes
like
on
that.
the other side.
Yeah.
But like I don't know. I mean, in 2007, were Christian bookstores still a thing? And if so, was
Oh, yeah.
Singularity put in those
Oh,
Christian
yeah.
bookstores? What do you think
Because Tooth and
Singularity
Nail
was?
still. Yeah, 100%.
Probably. Yeah, probably.
When would you say, Rye, that they started to tank a little bit Christian bookstores? Would it be like when we were like
dude,
exiting college era of our
I
lives?
would
or-
say the decline of Christian bookstores was probably 2011, 2012.
Yeah, it makes sense. Because I mean, I've seen like the last one was closed near where I live probably in the past 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
So this is a hard like left turn.
Yeah.
We can go back to it, but I have to say this. I've been thinking about this since I knew that was going to be on your podcast.
Okay.
My uncle, my dad's brother-in-law, was the first person to ever have a Christian record store. And what I mean
Really?
by that is they didn't sell any books in the store.
Oh,
It
nice.
was only vinyl and CDs and cassettes, and it was in the 80s. And he had in the back room, or in the back of the store rather, a soundproof room where you could put those, like an accompaniment tape where it was just like,
Oh.
like
yeah.
Twyla Paris
Yeah.
sings this and the other side is instrumental, and you could put on headphones, sing into a mic, and
Yeah.
like test the song out before you bought it.
That's
And he was a Christian concert promoter in the 80s.
they.
as well.
That was the
actually
move
amazing.
in the 90s. Was you'd have your like, you have the worship. In the 90s, so worship band, loose term, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Praise
yeah.
band,
Praise.
and choir, and then after
Special-
maybe offering or
special
something like
song.
that, special
Special-
song done
special
to a
music.
soundtrack.
Bro,
Really?
do you know what
Oh,
my
yeah.
dad's was? Because
During the offering?
no one knows this, but my dad used to do that.
Really,
It was
Mark?
The Anchor Holds.
The Anchor Holds.
Oh, okay.
That was his song.
My dad would sing during special music at the churches he was going to, and
Oh.
that was always like a lot of practice on Saturday, and then
Mm-hmm.
we had to be quiet in the back seat on Sunday on the way to church so we could sing it a few
Oh.
times.
Though the ship is tattered, the anchor holds.
And they all have that.
Who sings Anchor Holds?
I
Ray
have no
Boltz?
idea. Probably.
Probably feels like
Ray
Boltz.
I have no idea.
Ray Boltz.
Yeah.
In my brain, my dad sings it. You know.
Yeah,
He's
like
the
no one
author.
else. It's just my dad.
This
who
is my
sings
dad.
that song.
It's cool.
My
man.
cousin's dad sang "What a Mighty God
Woo!
We Serve." Oh,
Ray
yeah.
Boltz. Yeah.
Ray Boltz?
It's also
I love it, dude. I love that trivia comes back to me. Actually, another thing I want to do, maybe you guys want to get in on it. A bar
Nah,
in
won't trust you.
Nashville
Okay, go ahead.
that like hosts kind of like deconstruction trivia nights,
That would be
and
fun.
like is kind of like a sinners and saints bar called Another Time, Another Place, which is Sandy Patty and
Yeah.
Oh,
Michael English
freaking
song.
Do you listen to Sandy Patty?
Oh, dude.
Oh,
Dave and I have
man.
shared many of those memes back and forth.
What was Sandy Patty's big song? The El Shaddai Adonai.
No,
Is
that's
that her?
That's Amy Grant.
Yeah.
Is
that's
it?
Amy Grant.
Oh my God! Why did I,
I
think
saw a
it was?
billboard for Amy Grant the other day.
Sick.
Yes, I think she's doing the rhyming.
Oh man,
That's
well,
what
she's
they-
married to
We're in the
Vince
town
Gill,
to do
right?
that. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
He's an Eagle now.
I-
What did Sandy Patty sing?
I cannot remember what the big one was. Oh
Taylor's
man.
faster. Yeah.
Yeah. Good job, Taylor. You're doing good. You're doing it.
Probably.
I met Sandy Patty's daughter in Orlando at a May show. She's a May fan.
Really?
Came to the show.
That made your night, didn't it?
Yes.
That's so
Yes.
great.
Yeah.
And I asked her about that video.
Did you really?
Mm-hmm.
What did she say?
She said she saw it and thought it was funny, but the thing is, it's very sad because what happened was Sandy Patty had an affair with
Did
like
you
one of
hear
her
she
singers.
got a
Oh,
divorce?
no.
Yes,
Do you listen
and
to
like
Sandy
and it was very
Patty?
public and it was humiliating.
Yeah.
And like she said, her daughter said, like we went through a decade's worth of therapy to like get our lives
Dang.
back.
So that was patient zero for Steve V.
Brother.
Yikes.
I'm so sorry. That was
That
a
was
bad
good.
joke.
But that is kind of what I was saying about like the pressure side of things.
Oh,
dude,
geez.
if you're on this side of the line, it's something else.
Yeah.
But if you're on this side of the line, Lord.
Oh yeah.
Bad.
I don't want to go too much into this because we can, but if you'll look heavy into what's going on with the Newsboys right now.
Oh, tell me. I want
no.
to go heavy into that.
Gosh.
Please. You see, I just like
Well,
took the
he
mic and
said,
brought it closer.
let me get my posture
Yeah.
right in my
One
mic.
of Sandy Patty's top songs was "Love in Any Language." If it helps
Love in
you-
any language.
Yeah.
If it helps you to,
Love in any
Transition.
language.
Oh, well
Boom,
done.
boom, boom, boom.
You do it so
It's crazy. What if you ever wonder what happens in a green room with bands? This is pretty much
Oh
what
my
we would
gosh.
do every night. I have this video. I think I put it on my Instagram story.
Yeah. The Fly.
What?
Is it the Fly?
What are you talking about?
It's not the Fly.
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
Are you talking about the video where
We're down in Texas and like
Yeah.
there's
Yes.
a fly in the dressing room and I'm just singing I just want to fly
And you're
I'm
like,
pointing
Oh,
at the
that
fly
one
the whole
too.
time.
That's amazing.
But also, when we sing, we all sing every little thing I do.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
that was
'Cause
also
we
the
all
same
point to
night
you,
though?
You're like, it's gotta be Meg.
Yeah, you ran your bit with
Which,
I can't remember
hey.
who it was
Oh, we're close.
where
Yeah,
you
right on the money.
you were like, you remember the song we wrote, right? And you're completely just making it up as you go. I don't remember who was it with.
Drew.
It was
Probably
Drew.
Drew. Yeah,
It's
that's
so
a Drew
perfect.
thing. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, this is what green rooms are like. At least fun green rooms. Some green rooms are real intense. and
Yeah,
real
some
serious.
green rooms are a little awkward.
And honestly, you know what I feel bad about? I feel, well, maybe I don't. I feel sort of bad sometimes. Like, we're in Texas. It's us. It's Vo. It's y'all. It's friends. And, like, even the, like, especially, like, me, you, and Aaron, like, we know each other. And then, like, everyone else, like, in the bands are meeting and stuff like that. And then when you have someone else, like, we had a fourth band on that trip who doesn't really know anyone.
Yeah, they're outcasted.
Yeah, and we're all having the greatest time with the pizza and everything else, and yeah.
Drew's like, we
Remember
had a
that-
buyout. I brought 77 beers and 70 pizzas.
It's true. It was last night I toured. I'm like, go spend this money on
Yeah.
morale and feed everybody.
we played.
Get everybody drunk.
We played in shorts that night.
Did
That
you?
was San Antonio.
Oh,
It was
dude.
I'm jealous.
So hot.
I'm
It
jealous.
was very hot.
The
jealous.
only YouTube video I posted from that trip is us playing in shorts.
That was the night that me, Emma, and Cody got in the Uber that had every
Oh,
window blacked
yeah.
out, and I shared our location because I was like, we're going to die.
Yeah, it
We're
was
going to
rough.
die. And then my own song started playing, and Emma is like smiling. And I was like, how is this happening? And I didn't realize it was like an iPad where they were selecting what we're playing because it went from like Gasolina to freaking Proud by Anthony. I was
My
like, what is
favorite thing
happening?
about May trips is the last minute with the trailer, especially on the other one, is Dave always like 10 minutes before leave out. Do you mind taking this back? We've got all these vinyls. Do you mind taking this
And the
back?
best part is
Yeah.
everyone's flying out except
Yeah.
for poor
Yeah, and
Ryan's
I'm
driving
like,
it all
"Ah,
back.
All right, that's fine. I'll bring it to the studio in a day or two when I get back.
It's true.
Yeah.
I'm always like the first person you see when you get back from tour together because you come straight to the studio.
Yeah, because
you
I gotta
drop something
unload
off for me.
everything. Yeah, it's just like, do you mind
Very
taking
kind.
this? Do you mind taking this? Oh, yeah, it's fine.
He does have a heart.
I make the joke lovingly, but it's funny because Maytime, I call it Maytime.
You know, the thing is, though, like, I don't think that so when we toured this fall and the tour that I just did, right, with Rocket Summer, it's so different when you don't fly anywhere and you just, like, put all of your shit in the same vehicle, trailer, whatever, every single night.
Yeah.
Because we show up early. Because we don't have to worry about flying everybody here and there. And it's just, like, that's something that I had forgotten and realized I missed about tour, the fly-in weekend warrior thing.
Yeah.
You don't really get in a groove,
It's
and you
cool
rely
once
on
or
people.
twice,
It's
but
cool.
yeah.
It makes you feel cool. Like, oh, we can just fly out and play shows. But like, you don't get in a groove. You don't get as tight. You don't sing as well.
Because
don't,
the third or fourth night is when you're like,
yeah, you start to warm up
I'm
and get
rocking
into
now.
that flow, and then
we're
it's
done.
like we're
Yeah.
done for the next 2 weeks or 2 months.
so what you're telling me right now is we're going to commit together for 6 weeks.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. Only L markets.
L. We
like
skipped A, B, and C. Went to
Murfreesboro,
L.
Tennessee.
Okay.
It's
Like,
still a
yeah.
1-point game with 6 minutes and 43 seconds left.
Okay.
Timberwolves are up 1.
Up 1.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very.
Get ready to take your pants off. Go outside for a parking lot.
So glad we agreed to that.
All right, we got to finish. We got to get back because I knew this episode was going to be like this.
Absolutely.
May, just like every other band from that era, sort of, I wouldn't say necessarily takes a hiatus by any means. I would just say as the 2010s were rolling around,
Yeah.
everyone was kind of like finding their own lane.
Yep.
As all these reunions are happening, these 20 years and stuff like that, how do you feel about it? Like, do you like doing these 20-year shows?
I like how the people who go to the shows feel.
Oh yeah.
We played Des Moines, opening up for Rocket Summer, like last month, right? And May hasn't been to Des Moines in 19 years, maybe. There were seven different people who had kids named after our band.
That happened a lot.
It happens a lot, and
And they're all named Dave. That's so strange.
So cool.
They're all named Dave
is
Elkins,
little
and then
Dave.
whatever
This is
their
my boy
last
El.
name is. It's really funny because someone actually brought that up. They're like, "Well, who's been named David after you?" I'm like, "What? That sounds terrible.
Yeah.
Don't name yourself after me."
Would ever be around and call you David? I still had no idea who David was.
David.
Yeah.
That's what my mom calls me.
Yeah. It's
Aw.
just, David. Who's David? Where's David? I don't know. Anyway, sorry.
I like that people, that they have the nostalgia for it. I was talking to our old manager, and we're doing this Everglow tour this fall. She came out to our Denver show. That's where she lives, and she's like, people don't really miss Rob
Old
from
manager,
May, like in the Everglow and Singularity
yeah, I was
era.
like way back. Yeah.
She said they don't really miss Rob Schweitzer playing keys in May. They miss how they felt when they went to the show
that's
and Rob Schweitzer was playing keys in May. And so I think that like what May has to do in 2025 is play with Spill Canvas, get Ace as opener, make it like this whole nostalgic event where everybody's playing songs that they wrote 20 years ago. We're still going to sprinkle in songs from an album that's coming out this fall.
Right.
The Human Heart is the album, right, that's coming out on Equal Vision. It's going to come out while we're on tour this fall.
Oh, nice.
It's done
Because
It's
we're
close?
it's close.
Yeah.
And we're going to take advantage of collecting our audience that we had and asking them to join us for the next installment. And I think that that's what matters. Like what I went to the Postal Service Death Cab 20 year of transatlanticism and Give Up, and that was incredible. And like I bet you that version of Ben Gibbard and company playing those songs, they did it better than they ever did it in its like prime as far as like when the songs were released, etc. So I think that like some of these bands, and I'll say this from my perspective, May gets to play the Everglow better than we played the Everglow
That's fair.
when we wrote and recorded the Everglow. Because like we're like these 40-something-year-old guys who sit in a studio all day. That's who I am, of course. And like I care and think and like process what it means to like perform music and like what the audience is listening for, etc. When I was 22, I was just like, let's rock.
Yeah.
And I took my Firebird out there and I just like I threw it around. And now I'm just like, well, like everybody's going to be going out drinking after the show or whoever is. I'm just like, oh no, I'm going to drink tea. I'm going to have a gallon of water during the day. I'm going to like do my exercises. And then when it's over, I'm going to go straight to the hotel and sleep as long as I can. And we're going to get juice on the way to the venue the next day. It's like, I want to do everything I can so I stay healthy and I deliver, because you think about it, when we sold a ticket to a show and May was playing Everglow, you probably could see us for like $12. And now you're going to buy a ticket for like $40, and you might buy a VIP and it might be $150, and you're going to like pay a babysitter, and you're going to go out and Uber there and back, and you're going to buy drinks, and you're going to get food. You're going to spend like $300+.
So why not just go to Disney?
That's what I do.
Yeah, that's what we do.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
I get on guest lists.
Oh, yeah.
And I go to Disney. But
Dude, Dave, I'm not going to go too much into it, but Dave has a Disney Connect.
I do.
Oh,
And
nice,
loves
dude.
to rub it in.
I do.
Yeah.
My daughter and I
gone
have
to
gone there
Disney.
twice, and like we've
It's
done
free.
like the park hop, and we've done it all,
nice.
and it's been free or at
cool.
least
Yeah.
like severely.
That's when I hear from Dave.
discounted.
Hey,
Yeah.
going to Disney, it's free. See ya.
I do love kind of how you just said that, though, because I remember when Beloved was coming back, and I was working with Joe at the time, and so we talked about it a lot, and I was just, he's kind of having a moment where he was like, I play worship drums now, big dog. I don't even know if I can play at my Beloved speeds and scream at the same time. And I remember us having a very amazing conversation about like, dude, think about it this way. Like, you guys are not going into this literally as kids now. You're coming into this with a collective of like 11 children and spouses and tons of memories, life lessons. I was like, people are literally going to get you, but they're not getting 10 Joes ago. They're getting you guys now, and that's going to be an incredible experience. So I love that. That's kind of how you view that. It's like you're literally getting life lived May.
Oh yeah,
and that's beautiful.
I think another part of like the whole nostalgia play is that when you're just making a record and you're in a band full time and you're in your early 20s, you just keep doing it. You're gonna play these songs. This is your set list. You're opening up for this band, and then you're gonna do a headline run, and then you're gonna open up for this band. Well, like after the Everglow tour, I know there's gonna be more live performances from May, but they're not gonna be like 3 weeks later. They might be 6 months later. They might be, So it's like you only have so much time to like do your best, and
Make it count.
when you're a kid, you're kind of like not. It's not possible to be present. You're just kind of like, this is cool. This is, you're just like kind of floating around.
Yeah.
This is cool. This is new. Let's keep going.
Right.
Yeah.
And when I'm 43 and I'm doing it, I'm just like, the songs seem slower, even if they're the same BPM, because I'm like aware and I'm making eye contact with people in the audience. I'm making eye contact with my bandmates on stage. And I'm like, this is what there is. Like I'll bring my daughter out on tour like I did, every tour lately since. And I'll like just have a moment where I look over and I see her. And like, I didn't get to have that moment when I was writing the Everglow. There's a song on there called Mistakes We Knew We Were Making, which is about like, like the surprise of a pregnancy. That's frankly how my daughter showed up, was a surprise. And I can sing that song as a 43-year-old dad, and like I can live those lyrics that I never had like firsthand experience or even secondhand experience with something like that. So I think like there's something about the nostalgia that people show up for, and they really want to be there, and it's not just like another night and everybody's in their teens and early 20s and they just go to shows. Where like everybody's a little more present than we were when we did this last time.
It's less output and what's next and more cherish the moment.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Because probably not going to be maybe not going to be a 30-year.
No, there will not.
Yeah.
There will not be at
But a 50
Everglow
year.
20. If we're doing Everglow at 50,
That'd be
which
sick.
would be 2055,
It's not a real time.
how old will I be in 2055?
130.
Wait,
Yeah, good Lord.
wait, that's only 30. Well, that's 30 years from now. So I'll be 73.
Oh.
I could do that.
Yeah, you'll be
That'd
fine.
I could totally.
You're drinking
do that.
enough tea to be there.
I'm
It's
Yeah.
gonna be great.
Yeah,
At
throat
that
coat's
point,
got
you'll
me
be able
hooked
to
up.
also sing Embers and G.
I could probably go back.
It'll come back.
Oh my
yeah.
God, you could. It's full circle.
I could.
Oh my God, that's beautiful.
Let's wrap. Let's talk a little bit about the human heart. Like
Oh,
a little
cool.
more that we have.
Sweet.
like I said, I've heard a lot of the record. I haven't heard mixes in a while.
I know you got to come to the studio and hear what's going
Yeah.
on because it's almost done and it's sounding awesome.
But there's a lot of songs that I really love. On that.
Cool.
Obviously, I remember when you were writing "Waste Your Time." Remember that? I don't remember what the one song that was called, but so like I said, I filmed a lot of it, and every day I was always in there like, when we're gonna get more emo, like when we're gonna get more pop punk, when we're gonna do this. And there's one song I can't remember what the song's called, but I was there the day you were doing pre-pro, and there was like driving drums and stuff like that. I can't remember what song it is.
Was it How It Makes Me Feel? It was like that song.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
and
a
I
first
was,
look.
that was it.
You guys think it's ready?
Print it.
Yeah, I think it was that. And then I was like, and there's a few other songs with like some heavier riffs and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, cool. This is the singularity side of May that I like a lot. And then I think as a lot of those songs developed, there's just something for every moment of a May catalog fan.
Yeah.
But none of it feels forced to me.
No, so I've been living in Nashville since 2011, and I've been producing and working around music and the whole thing. And so what I've figured out how to do authentically, I promise, is write songs for May fans for a May album.
Yeah.
Like if I hear something that I'm working on, I'd be like, that sounds like what May would do.
What was it? You were doing something else one time. You were like, I was doing this for a different project, and then I wrote him a May song.
Right.
What was that? You know what I'm talking about? It was like I don't remember. Anyways.
But it can happen because obviously I'm me, so I'll write something.
I am May.
But when I was writing, I am May.
Yeah.
It's so ridiculous. I want to start saying that though sometimes,
You should.
just to rub people the wrong way. Like, oh, I'm May.
I'm May. But just to Drew and Kip.
Yeah. Hey, I'm May.
Hey, I'm May. Let's
Just
shut this up.
the hired guns who are my best friends, and I'm just like, hey, I'm May.
I'm May. Keen would be like, okay.
Yeah.
Drew would be like, what the hell?
What's the set list? I'm May.
That's great. I still don't have a set
Hey,
list.
can we stop for a pee break pretty soon? I'm May. Just you hold it. I'm May.
I'm May. Yeah.
It's like on a travel day. Anyway, I've just been trying to collect the riffs and the melodies and the lyrics and the vibe that make me feel like May.
Yeah.
Right.
Where I used to say, I'm writing these riffs and these songs, they're me, and so they're gonna be May.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be May.
There it is.
So close.
So close. We're
You would've hit it on the dot.
16 minutes away. That'd been
Score update.
amazing.
That'd been
I would
perfect.
walk out.
Yeah.
If it
I'm
was,
done.
Yeah, that's how you
I
leave.
would drop. I would unplug this thing, and
Score update is 93-91, 3 minutes left.
T-Wolves.
T-Wolves.
Sick.
Only this episode.
Yeah.
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 Only this one.
So no, I think that you know what I mean when I say that. You know how a band that you love will make a hard turn, and you'll be like, well, they're artistically exploring, and they're they're breaking new ground. It's like
That's a nice thing to say. It's usually that band sucks. Why'd they do that?
Well, look, I mean, my favorite bands do that. Let me be clear. Like the Bon
Let me be
Ivers and the Radioheads and the Beatles, etc. They do that. And as a guy who gets to be around music all the time, gratefully, if I'm going to still work on May, then I want May fans to feel like they got considered. And
I like that.
Yeah, instead of being like...
I like that a lot.
And here's the thing, an example would be one of my really good friends is a lead singer of Copeland, and he's the producer, songwriter from Copeland.
Right.
Aaron Marsh. Dude is a genius, in my opinion, writes killer stuff. But if you look at the catalog of Copeland stuff, you can't listen to their last album and compare it to their first and second albums. It's they went on their own path, which is dope. And I think I wouldn't say I'm jealous, but I would say I love that.
Yeah.
But they don't put a lot of Beneath Medicine Tree in a set list that they're playing that isn't a nostalgia play in 2025, which I get. And so like I want to be able to write songs for the human heart and that'll make it easy for me to go and play Embers still in the same set and play Bloom.
And not feel like they're almost a different band.
Right,
Yeah, you're not
exactly,
bouncing,
exactly,
yeah.
exactly.
You know, is a good example of that. Weirdly, this is going to come really out of left field. The early first like
looking at me.
Sanctus Real record
Oh,
my gosh.
was really
got
good.
wild.
And
I'm Not Alright
nothing-
era?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and nothing else sounds like that. So it's like,
Newsboys, what they were doing in like the early '90s, and then what they're doing now.
That's genuinely very fair, honestly.
what they're doing now,
I mean, it's awful.
yeah. It's
Can I?
I'm
okay.
not even.
I'm
I
not.
mean, they don't write their own songs.
No.
They don't.
Yeah, God's Not Dead is not a Newsboy song.
Yeah.
If you didn't know.
No, if you look at who's writing the songs, maybe like they've invited one of their songwriters to like now join the band at this point.
Yeah.
But like
Michael Gunger's the next.
Well, I mean, I think, and I'll make this a very
Wait, am I
short
saying the
rant.
right person?
But like, I just cannot stand. I understand from an industry standpoint, if I was a worship writer and there was something awesome I wrote, and it was just an awesome local community thing, and like a John Mark, How He Loves, never
yeah.
was intended to be anything other than the fact he was honoring his friend who passed away, and it was from his heart, and then it ends up being this, and this, and so. But my petty side is, there's nothing worse than having an awesome song that you're like, no one knows what this is, but it's phenomenal.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then 5 years later, someone's like, can you play this song? And then you find out a CCM artist recorded it, and you're like, God, like, good job for the songwriter. Good job for that, Brad.
Yeah.
But now because then behind the scenes, everyone's like, I don't want to play that freaking song. It's a
I will leave a
K-Love song.
church
And I'm
over
like,
sloppy, over Unforeseen Kiss. I'll just walk out.
the first time I led at the Summit in a year gap before I worked at Winston First, they had that song on there. On the
Unforeseen?
schedule, and I was not in charge. I was just a hired gun. I was helping my friends, and they had Unforeseen on there, and I sang Unforeseen through every single rehearsal. And the moment I got live, didn't care.
Love it.
You're not gonna. That to me, that's my pray to a God that you do believe in. Don't change the freaking lyric. And I understand
Interesting.
there was a mutual conversation there, but I hate that crap.
Did you hear the new John Mark McMillan?
Steven,
I've
our buddy
heard it.
Steven, was a very big part of that for like the live tracking stuff.
Oh,
in
yeah,
our-
of course,
yeah,
Steven.
And
Yeah.
then
Price, yeah.
Yeah, up in
Yep.
North Carolina.
Yep, and then Dustin does all the lighting stuff for that. They're
Yeah,
great.
I've heard it's good.
Yeah.
I can't. I actually, that may be my plane ride listens tomorrow.
I think that might be another example of like when you come back into your own and you think about who has been listening to you, then you find like some peace.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And that might be where he is.
yeah. Because I mean, I
That
think he said he
feels
never
like
wanted
an
to write.
authentic John Mark. Record.
Yeah,
Totally.
like I know he said he didn't ever really have any plans on stepping back into technically a quote unquote worship record again.
If you
Yeah.
do, you know your heart is soft
Yeah,
for it.
absolutely.
Because you've already made it, it's become so cold and so hard that you don't know how you could
Yeah.
ever get back. So if you do, I would believe in the authenticity of what he's written completely.
So
Absolutely.
what you're telling me?
Oh no,
Uh-oh, look at that
I hate
face.
it when he
What?
does this.
Zoom in.
What?
Zoom in on that.
So what you're telling me is the next thing is we're collectively doing a worship record,
Oh no.
but it's all Michael W. Smith remix.
Say less. I'm in now.
I'm so in.
I
dude.
figured you'd be.
I'm so in. I love Michael W. Smith.
I know you do.
I do not have a problem with or like at the same time this whole like he's got Jesus from The Chosen as his drummer now. Jonathan Rumi, or however you say his
forgot-
name.
yeah.
He's like playing drums on Michael W.
crazy.
Smith songs. It's weird. It's a
I did
stretch.
not know that.
I still love the idea. I don't think we'll ever get to do it, even though I do have a friend at Capitol now. I don't think we'll ever get to do Wow Goes Pop Punk. But if we were going to do one,
Why not? I would jump all over that, dude.
well, that's what I'm going to ask you. What would be? I'm like, all right, May's going to. Here's the slot for May. What's your song? What song are you picking?
Oh, easily. How many? Wait, I only get one choice. Can I?
No, give 3.
Can I get 3?
Yeah,
Yeah,
three.
sure, you
top
can
three
get
choices.
3.
Okay,
Yeah, because we need to record 3 to get the best one that we
True.
love for the record.
Thank you. I would do Rocket Town by Michael W. Smith, which is on the Big Picture,
Yeah.
which came out like '87.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Is this all Michael W. Smith? Or just
No,
a-
I don't think so. I think I would do Consume Me from Supernatural, DC Talk.
Oh yeah.
Song's dope. So good. I would do Frail from Much Afraid from Jars of Clay,
Yeah.
and if
Oh,
I got a bonus,
Oh, I love
I
this.
would do something from Take Me to Your Leader, Newsboys, like
Okay.
one of like the
The
later
Peter-
tracks on the
yeah.
album.
I
Let Us Pray. Ocean Floor sped up.
Let Us Pray from
Let us pray.
Stephen
Let us
Curtis
pray.
Chapman.
Yeah.
I want to
What's
do
the second one?
Oh,
No, no,
second
no.
one.
Second one you said.
I would like a little sped up version of Ocean Floor, but still sad.
Who's
audio,
Ocean Floor?
Audio Adrenaline.
Yeah.
Audio Adrenaline.
Oh,
There on the ocean.
I thought Bloom was
floor.
dope, and then like Some Kind of Zombie. Those are the albums that I was into.
Yeah.
But
Well,
I don't know
was-
what Ocean Floor. What album is that one on?
God, I don't even know. It was probably one of the first things I heard from
What's your
them.
favorite audio
Okay.
song, right?
Probably was on like a bonus track of a WoW CD.
Okay,
I don't know.
okay.
I can
Probably.
see the artwork. If we're gonna do another one, I really want to do Flood by Jars of Clay,
Sick.
Oh, dude.
which I think could be like I almost think of it in like a vein that's kind of like an Emery vein.
Do you
It's,
end
like,
up
dark.
doing these covers more
done
in
one.
the style of like, you know how like when you guys do a cover, it's like the what's the song that you did by Stephen Curtis Chapman?
Dive. Yeah.
Right. Is it like that in your mind? Like, do I have to do Consume Me by DC Talk, but I have to like make it sound like May from 2004? Or
No,
can
I just like I kept like playing around with this idea of it could be a pop punk song. And then the more I worked on it, I was like, this just sounds like a Reliant K song. So I showed it to Hoops. I was like, what would you do different? He's like, it's honestly pretty close. He was like,
Yeah.
it's pretty good.
I would definitely want to do. I'd want it to be your wherever you're at May wise
Cool.
version. Honestly, as long
Yeah.
as it's
Yeah.
May, who is
Yeah.
I am May.
Yeah. Well, dude, I love the idea. If we can get someone to fund that thing, man, I'm all for it. Because I know you, you would
I do it
it
at the studio for free. If we got the right bands, I would give all the
I
studio
think
time for free.
I've tried to convince Hoops to do Place in This World.
Oh, dude,
I
that
think
would be
Teeson
so
would crush that song.
amazing.
I know he would crush that
Bro.
song. That would be awesome.
Yeah. So I think that'd be
Oh,
fun.
man.
And I also think, and I know this would be sort of out of left field with the like collab, but I think they could get the feature Vo and Jars of Clay doing a Jars of Clay song because Aaron and Jars of Clay are tight.
So sick.
Oh.
Would be so sick.
Yeah.
Dude.
So and then I think like Stephen Christian doing a Carmen song would be sick.
That'd be so sick.
I'll let you send that text.
If I had my phone here right now,
Yeah.
I'd be like, "Can you do that?"
Yeah.
That'd be
Carmen.
so sick.
He you never know. He might be like, yeah, I'm in for the champion.
I'd love if Carmen is actually still alive right now.
I don't think so.
I know
We
he's-
talked about this
I
recently.
know he's
isn't he?
not, but I'm saying like
Oh, yeah.
I would love it if like if anybody can resurrect post Jesus, I think it would be
It's
Carmen.
Carmen would be the closest one.
I think Carmen's
It's
down
Lazarus, Jesus,
And
to like, Carmen. Oh yeah,
Oh, I love that.
No
oh
doubt.
my gosh. The best part is Luca's defense was so bad.
that's what someone just texted you.
My brother-in-law just texted me that I think the game is over.
Yeah.
Who's over?
The game is over.
And
T-Wolves.
The Lakers are eliminated.
what's the score? Final score?
103-96.
Yeah.
Oh wow, pulled a little way there at the end.
Yeah.
Whoo, can't wait to watch First Take tomorrow with
Oh,
Stephen
good
A.
Lord.
That's
He's gonna have something
be
to say.
whew,
They
that's-
won game 1 or game 2.
either
Lakers,
one of those two.
Lakers won game 2 and that's it.
Yeah.
No,
No, they won game 1.
they game 1. I think they won game 2.
Yeah, I think so. I was like, there's no way they went 4-0. That's crazy.
Right.
Wow.
Great.
Congratulations, Ant Edwards. He's the
awesome.
future.
He's the future for
He's
sure.
the future.
For sure.
Yeah. Now Bronny and Brown are going to Cancun.
That's right.
Well, Charles Barkley might send them to Galveston.
Oh
You never-
Lord.
All that dirty ass water, send them to Galveston. Dude, when we went and played San Antonio, the amount of churro jokes I had.
Oh, it was perfect.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
great.
And I didn't get any churros. I was bummed. I should have.
Probably
I,
missed out on a delicious one too.
I said something from stage. I can't remember. What did I say? Or maybe I almost did.
Oh.
I can't remember. But
Well, I probably asked you to not talk
I would
about
do it. I
the
would
big
totally
women
do
in
it.
San Antonio.
yeah.
Not
All the
wise.
big women is.
No, it's terrible.
Didn't feel
That's
great.
horrible.
The best one
Chuck
is his
can get away with
apology.
it, but-
When he does it, there's just like, nah. I don't. Oh my gosh. Well, I'm very excited for the Human Heart. I'm excited to hear the updates, but I'm excited for people to hear. Not that. not that the past. Why is the name of the? What's the record with Let It Die on it?
Multi-sensory.
Multi-sensory. Not that that's like. It's not an optimistic Dave.
No, I was going through the toughest time of my whole life.
And I'm not to say that the human heart is just this ultimate like sunshine of ray, but it's just it's a heart on your sleeve, Dave.
It totally is.
And I'm excited as your friend, as a fan of the band, and as someone who's heard it. I'm excited for May fans to hear it, and I'm excited for people who were May fans 20 years ago that are coming out for the Everglow.
the Everglades.
The Everglades tour.
The Everglades tour.
That sounds like a Baby Billy pitch.
Yeah.
Come on, Eli. It's called the Everglades.
I'm excited.
Do it for your dead wife.
Oh my gosh. We gotta stop referencing Righteous Gemstones.
I don't think
I
you
don't know
do.
why.
It's so fresh.
I don't think you
love
do.
it.
No. I
Are
think
you caught
continue
up?
with it. No, but I'm catching up right now.
Love that.
This season, I still stand by season 2 is the best.
Season 2 is the best.
Where they have the whole like Christian resort and like Joe Jonas is there and all that.
Yeah.
But I will say season 3 had one of the best multi like origin story episodes I've ever seen in a comedy show.
And we're on season 4 right now,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
So I haven't seen season
Okay.
3 yet.
Oh.
Okay.
Season 4.
I just did this catch up.
Cool.
Season 4
literally 2
episode
weeks
1
ago.
was also awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, yeah.
Yep, agreed.
Anyways, yeah, I'm excited for all that. I'm
Thank
excited
you.
for you. I'm excited to see what 2026
2026
May is
is gonna be dope,
doing.
I think, yeah.
I'm excited for us to do the pop punk. CCM goes pop punk.
I'm in.
I'm excited to do that.
I donate my studio for recordings to make it
We're
happen.
yeah, with people like us, and correct me if I'm wrong on this. When you find bands that are fun to be around, you want to go back and like do something with them again later. You don't want to do something right away, but like,
No doubt.
like yeah, it's that we will be back together at some point. Just mainly on the front of we all love to hang.
Yeah.
So who knows? That could be a trampoline park tour.
Dude.
Yeah, dude, your friend needs to get us in to play like a Disney show. We need to play like Epcot.
I think she can do that because she's like, like she just saw Switchfoot there
Yeah.
not long. No, she didn't see Switchfoot there. That was something else.
Simple
But
Plan.
Simple Plan,
Yeah.
Plain White Tees, Hanson. Those
Yeah.
guys play those like
Yeah.
food and wine fest at Epcot
Yeah.
every year.
Nice.
I want to get on that.
Yeah, me too. And I want to like bring out our heaviest stuff for that. Like just like we're gonna bring a screamer out, the whole thing.
Whoa, really?
No, but
So you might not get invited
Really?
back.
For the kids.
Gotta
just
keep those hookups.
it's just an Under Oath playthrough,
Oh Lord.
and like new Under Oath with all the language, like
Yeah.
with all the language.
With all the language.
That'll go
Yeah.
over
And then
very
every other
well.
song is a Disney cover.
Oh yeah. I'm
Oh,
low-key
have
bummed
you
that
heard
I
that,
didn't-
by the way?
I'm low-key bummed that I mean I wouldn't think we would, but I'm low-key bummed that we didn't get asked to do that because I put up a few Disney pop punk things that got a lot of views.
It's like Newfound Glory,
Yeah.
Yellow Card,
yeah.
Plain White Tees,
And like Magnolia Park did Eye to Eye, which was very good.
which is also the name of a Michael W. Smith album. the song Secret Ambition that everybody knows,
Yeah.
that was on the album Eye to Eye.
Yeah.
True. My gosh. All right, we got to wrap because
Yes.
we will do this all
And I
got
gotta be at the airport
Dave,
for
thank
5
you.
hours.
Because what time is it?
It's
12.
11:59.
Oh yeah, it's on the dot. Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. All right, we gotta wait. Do
Well,
we want
open
to
up your
Can you
open up
count-
your phone app.
It's
or your clock app.
When this fills up, it's
How many seconds do you have
I-
left?
you're there.
We gotta end
Go back
on
to it.
on
Go back
the
to it.
on the one.
All right.
Here it is, right here.
It's
It's
gonna be May.
Thanks for watching.
I am May.